Hey guys, welcome back. This is Miss Michelle Fix It, otherwise known as Michelle Fix It. Today is technically June 11th, 2023. It is actually 1:42 in the morning. So there's, in my mind, it's kind of like there's this grand discussion over, I'm doing laundry, that's why I'm still awake. So like, there's this grand discussion. Hold on one sec. Izzy was taking a middle of the night potty break, so I had to check on her and make sure she didn't have something going on. But there's always like this grand debate that has always been going on with my life, and I always hear it, and it's like, oh, you keep weird hours, gerbicatas. It's like, I have a different circadian rhythm than other people do. And one time, well, several times, I've looked it up, and it's like delayed sleep phase disorder. And so, like, I don't know, some people are just wired to be night owls, and some people are wired to be early birds. Xena clearly knows that I'm awake, so now she's going to bark. But for me, like, I've always just been a night owl, and it doesn't make me a bad mom. It means that my sleep schedule is just a little bit odd. And so for me, I'm going to tell on myself here. I had a baby really young. I got married really young because I was dumb. My life was a little special. And I got married at like 18, 19 years old. No, I got married at 18. Yeah. I graduated early. I graduated a semester early from high school. And then the grand plan was, oh, I'm going to take my semester off while my peers are finishing up school, because it was either I could graduate early, or like a semester early, or I could do half classes for the rest of the year. And it just made sense to me to just finish up early, because I had been working since I was 14, because my mommy cat let me, and I wanted to. Because for some reason it was like this thing that I wanted to do. And I figured I would just work and just enjoy the time off, and that, like, go to the community college or whatever, and then I would just continue on with my peer group. And that didn't really happen. There's a bunch of whole crazy stuff. And next thing I know, because I was 18 and very impressionable, I got married. And then started school up there. Like, got married to a guy that I, had been friends with for a while, and I liked, clearly. And then, his mom was like, hey, like, about 15% battery life, so it's gonna be a short-lived conversation. But she was like, oh, he's in the military, and you were thinking about going into the military, because, like, I was just right out of high school. I didn't know what I was doing, and things were a little special. And next thing I know, I'm like delusionally driving up to North Carolina with her and my 93 bubble body Caprice. It's like, surprise, we're getting married. And he's like, oh, we talked about getting married, and okay, let's do it. Later, I found out that he didn't want to get married, and I didn't want to get married, and we just kind of did it because we were stupid. And then he wasn't nice, and it was really bad. And then I was like, I made a big boo-boo. I should not have got married. This was not a grown-up decision to make. And then it's like, I thought I was just sick, like I had the flu or something. So I was, taking contraceptives, doing the right cat stuff, enrolled in community college. We had our little house, and then, like, it was not working. Because, if you're in the military and you get married, they give you a house, otherwise you stay in the barracks. And, his mom gave us a bunch of furniture, and, like, I worked and was getting a bunch of furniture and trying to make a home and trying to play house, and I had no business playing house. I've got some really stern opinions on stuff like that, having lived through it. And then by the time that I was like, I really need to not be in this marriage, this was a really bad boo-boo, because things just got super duper special. And he knows, and I know, it was not good. And then it's like, and you're pregnant. And you've been taking contraceptives the whole time. And you're just like, oh, that's not good. Like, I took like 5 tests. Like, I didn't believe them. Because, like, there's no way. Like, how does this even happen? And I've got theories on it. He's got theories on it. And, you know, there's a baby. And it was just this whole big scary thing. And, like, it was not a good situation. And he was not nice. And it did eventually end poorly. But I was very stubborn because I was like, I went from, like, oh, I should totally, like, try to find a way to get this annulled to, like, I don't know. When I found out that I was pregnant, I was like, now I have to make it work with this guy. And I gave it like 6.5, 7 years. And, like, we're talking, like, domestic stuff, you know, like, not good domestic stuff, like, almost got out of the military domestic stuff. And, like, there was a nervous breakdown that occurred because the domestic stuff went from, like, just me to, like, my child, and other people's children got involved one day. And that's what led to the severing of that relationship, because I've always had 3 rules. And my 3 rules are, you know, don't mess with my children or child. Don't mess with my ability to provide for my children or child. And don't mess with me. And I come last because I care about myself last. And he violated all that. And that became a big thing. And that led to a nervous breakdown. And one Marine running from his shop because his wife was at the hospital to come and, like, relieve me because I was like, I can't do it. And Julian, you know who you are. And then, like, another Marine almost really harming the Marine I was married to because I had a bunch of guy friends. Not because I was promiscuous, but because I have guy friends. I like guys. And not like that, but, like, I don't know. I like how they're just like, I'm going to punch you in the nose. Not me, but, like, you know, if they have issues with another guy or a person, they just punch them in the nose. Or they talk it out. Like, hey, you messed up. Gerbicatus. And, like, I don't know. They don't do all the, like, manipulative stuff. Because that stuff, there's been a learning curve. And it's been really slow for me. But I'm getting a lot better as I get older. But it's still just, it's so much work. And I just don't like it. But anyways... The whole thing I'm trying to get at here is that, like, I don't know. I was waitressing when I was pregnant. And I was waitressing after I had my baby. And, like, it works for my schedule. Like, I worked. I did night shift. And, my neighbor, Stephanie, was awesome and amazing. And she helped me be a good mom. And she was a breastfeeding, crunchy mom. Like, before it was super cool, and she had 2 children, and, like, she was just awesome. She was, like, an extra mom for me, and she was a huge resource, and, like, I wish I could reconnect with her, because things just got, like, really hard in the end, and, like, I was just overwhelmed, and I was very young. And her husband was awesome. Like, he was a Marine that deployed all the time. He was with Motor T, and, like, we bonded really well. Like, I knew her way before I met him, because he was deployed, like, all the time. And, like, he became, like, a big brother for me. And, like, he just had a lot of words of wisdom and stuff. And, like, you know, that was my thing. And I'm a night owl. And so, like, some of the best conversations I've had with people are late at night. Because that's just how I'm wired. And so that's why it's, like, almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm still awake. Everybody else in the house is asleep. Because I'm working on laundry. And, like, for some reason going on this whole trek of, like, you know, first marriage and stuff like that, because I've been, like, super embarrassed that I'm a double divorcee. It was kind of socially acceptable to be divorced once. And then, like, you find the person that you think is your person. And then, like, you have an amazing little life. And, like, you're super, super happy. And because you've been divorced, and, like, they've been divorced. Like, I had a child. He didn't have a child. Then, like, you're, like, healthy boundaries. And we learn from our mistakes, and, like, we're awesome, and, like, everything's perfect. And then, like, one day it's just not. And then, like, people get mob mentality, and they're like, oh, there's no way that, like, she didn't know this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I totally didn't know this stuff. And then, like, your name gets put in the newspaper for like bad stuff. And like, people are going to see this video that know me. They're going to be like, Michelle, why are you talking about this stuff? And it's like, because I've been kind of scared for a long time. And like, people have been using this stuff against me. And like, if I was such a guilty, scared cat, then like, I would have been hiding or not. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer was. And like, everyone has an opinion on stuff. But like, kind of boils down to the night owl thing, where it's like everyone's opinion is that because I stay up late at night and I wake up a little bit later, which is not really that much later because I do have a baby, and my baby's sleep schedule has been super, super special for like the first year and a half of his life, and he's only just now starting to be like better. But he goes to bed late at night. You know why? Because he wouldn't go to bed early. And if I said I got him to go to bed early and I try to keep him on a normal schedule, like, no matter what I did, he'd scream and scream and scream because he's medically complex. He's had all these issues and stuff. So now it's just like our schedule has been modified because of his schedule. My little professional baby. And so like I'm just like this special person that like I stay up late at night. I get stuff done that needs to get done. And like people that know me really well, they're like, why'd you send me an email at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, were you up early? It's like, no, I was staying up late because this is when my children are asleep. And it's like my most productive time period because I can get all this stuff done. The only thing that's a really big problem is that my husband is a super early bird. Like, he's just programmed to be an early bird. And so he gets so frustrated. So you go to bed super late and I want to snuggle buggle with you. And I'm like, okay, dude, well, like when I get into bed, whether you're asleep or awake or whatever, like you still snuggle buggle with me. So I don't want to hear that stuff because like I get into bed and I'm like all tired and you roll over and you're just like I'm your teddy bear. So you still get your snuggle buggles. You just like, you're just not falling asleep with me right there with you. And I tried to do that for a while. I tried to be the person that was like, oh, poor husband cat, I should totally like snuggle buggle with you so you can go to sleep. And then I just sit there all bored and like get all antsy and all hot. And I'm like, ugh, I don't want to be a teddy bear. Like he's going to be super annoyed about it. But he knows it's true. Like it's just, I'm a night owl, and having baby Hulk, you know, my night owl tendencies make it where like, oh, excuse me. My night owl tendencies make it where I'm super productive at night because it's cooler, everyone's quiet, there's no distractions, and it works for me. And with baby Hulk, it's like when he wakes up, I'm awake. Whether I've had an hour of sleep or 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, it doesn't matter. Which like only recently have I been able to, has he been sleeping a lot more solidly through the night. But for the most part, like I have just learned to survive and live with less sleep because I've been a mom. I've had to acclimate my night owl schedule to, you know, an existence that worked. Like I'm very fortunate now, and I've been for the past several years of my life, to be able to acclimate my life to a schedule that works for me. And so this is just kind of like a folding laundry video. And look, like there's a reason why I fold my stuff a certain way. That is not my way. I used to fold my stuff in squares. And then one guy had me start turning them into rectangles, and you can file them. This is like a random tidbit. If you fold them like this, it's actually more efficient than my squares because you can file your shirts and then like scoop them up in your drawers. It's awesome. So I still do it. And then husband cat kind of like he does that for the same reason that I learned from the other person to do it. So it's like I was pre-trained. If you know, you know. If you don't, then I'm just like a cuckoo bird. But anyways, you know, night owls out there, like, do you? Because even whenever I've had like different businesses in my life, when I had a daycare, daycares, I've had different daycares. Ooh, I said it. I said it. I've had different daycares in different states, multiple daycares. And even with my night owl tendencies, you know what? if I was up until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and my first child arrived at 5:30, 6:30 in the morning, guess who was awake? That was me. And, I would eat better because I was having to feed all the children. So, like, I would nibble and I'd graze a little bit better. Like, the daycare life was a really good life for me as someone that doesn't like to eat and is a night owl, because I wouldn't go to sleep when the children were down for nap time. But, like, children are kind of special. Where, like, if you put them all down for nap time and then you're just sitting there on your phone, they're like, Miss Michelle, why are you not laying down? It's nap time. And, like, I'm channeling, like, my little Sean that I remember. I'm like, Sean, Miss Michelle doesn't go no nights for naps because, like, Miss Michelle's a grown-up and grown-ups don't need naps. She's like, well, Miss Michelle, like, if I see you and you're still awake and, you're on your phone or you're doing paperwork, then I can't go sleep. So, like, go over there and, like, lay down. And then I would just, like, lay down, not sleep. Still, do my phone stuff or be making my list. But, like, I learned to lay down and, like, write so that Sean wouldn't see that I was, like, still being productive. And so, like, it gave me drawdown time periods in my day, and it was very helpful. And so, like, as much as I took care of the children, they took care of me because, like, yeah, Miss Michelle probably did need that, like, lay down time to just, like, sit and, like, write down notes and stuff like that, and I miss that. But I've kind of, like, started my own little thing with the homeschooling and the medically complex child, and I get to play with houses and vehicles and, like, all the stuff. But, it's, like, this weird time where I just get to, like, be here, and I get to, like, play with little cute baby clothes. Like, this one's a Ralph Lauren. I didn't pay Ralph Lauren monies for it, though, because I go to Once Upon a Child. No, that is not strategic, like, branding or anything. I like Once Upon a Child. I think they have a really good business model. And the cat's, like, trying to mess up my little workstation that I've created here. And I still got to go through my Instacrates. This is all filed stuff. Like, I still have to do my daddy cat dog's taxes. Okay, Rosie, move. But, like, basically, I don't know. Recent events just kind of made me, like, realize that I'm just going to start being more open and transparent. Like, if people have been mean and done the bad things to me and then try to make me out to be a bad guy, and I'm not a bad guy with certain things, like, if I've made a boo-boo, I'll tell you. But if I haven't made a boo-boo, then, like, I'm going to say no, that's not true. And then you just have to believe me or believe them or whatever. Because I've had a lot of really messed up stuff happen in my life. And, like, recently, there was a guy, an older person, that shouldn't have been really judgy. And, like, it kind of made everything worse because, like, my most recent traumatic situation, minus, like, a really recent one, but, like, my most recent, like, catastrophically, like, I call it my life blowing up situation that really, really, really made me keep my head down and be, like, very muted and, like, just barely survive. And, like, if I wasn't such a strong person, and yes, I do toot my own horn, because I am very, let's see, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I have self-actualization, and I value myself. And it's really hard to value yourself whenever other people are trying to cause catastrophic destruction of your life. And I did. And I'm very proud of myself. Don't get me wrong. There were times that, like, I wasn't emotionally well, because I just had things that, like, if you would have taken one of the 50 things that was catastrophically failing in my life, another person wouldn't be here today. In a very literal sense, they would be gone, either emotionally or physically not here with people. And I'm very proud of myself for that. And I'm also exceptionally proud of my husband cat, because my husband cat came in trying to be a helper cat and just trying to do what he thought was right because he thought he knew us and me and other people, other person. And then he kind of helped sort through the burning rubble that was my life, and I've been accused of not nice things, because of that dedication that husband cat had to me, and that's what led husband cat to eventually become my life partner. And that's why, like, no matter if he acts a little crazy, special, whatever, sometimes, we, like, pick at each other. I know, and he knows, that, like, that kind of dedication doesn't happen every day. And And this will be kind of weird for people because I'm talking in vague stuff, but then I'm very specific on other things. Um, but basically, like, this is the kind of stuff I think about when I'm doing mundane tasks. It's why I like working on houses, because then, like, I don't have to deal with all that emotional stuff. There's a very specific, very specific set of criteria that sets me up to be what I call an Aspie cat. And one of the big things with most of the Aspie cats is we don't like emotions. I can totally be all super happy and excited. And I can default to like anger if things are just not working well. But what I can't stand is like any of the negative emotions, besides anger, like depression and stuff like that. Like I just have a very forced coping mechanism to be very productive and distracted until I desensitize from it, and then I evaluate it. And evidently this latest trauma of my life exploding has caused that to last a long time. And like really and truly, it should have like been over like before COVID started. But for some reason I was just stuck in it. And then like and then I almost like died of COVID while pregnant. And like then my son was medically complex, and then I had all these other things to distract me, and then it's like all of a sudden like craziness ensues, and like, you know, my son's having issues, and my husband and I just like go to the ends of the earth and all these different hospitals to like make sure that he's okay. And like it was a big thing. And then it's like, you know, because of all that sleep deprivation, all the cuckoo-ness and all the rest of that stuff, it's kind of like, wait a second. It's like I woke up all the way and I'm like, wait, this isn't the life that I want. I need to start making some serious alterations, because like I did not peak and then have my life explode. Like I want to peak. I want to be in my prime and super happy. And this is cute. I have no idea when Baby Hulk wore this, because I don't put him in stuff like this. I think Husband Cat put him in this. Because this is all of this little, like he literally has all these little shirts and pants and stuff. He has like 3 outfits, and then I have this random onesie. But anyways, I'm distracted. But yeah, I just kind of like took a big stock of my life, and I'm like, nope. Super happy with myself as a mom, as a mommy cat, as a homeschooling mom, as a mother of a medically complex child that's had to advocate and find the best doctors, and sometimes be this big scary voice, or this big like, hey, my son is special and you need to help him because like I've put a lot of time into him and like he matters. And it's just this random conversation at night about laundry. But I mean, if you've been divorced once or twice, don't feel ashamed. That means that, you know, that means that you had bad things happen, and that you value yourself enough to get out of the situation, because there's nothing worse for a child than to be an unwilling victim of a bad marriage that makes it where that child thinks that eventually assimilates and thinks that that is the way that relationships are supposed to be. So if you're a single mom out there and you hear this, like, I'm a double divorcee. I'm on my 3rd marriage. My first one was abusive. My second one did really bad stuff that I'm not going to go into specific details about, because it specifically protects certain people. And those people are not me, because I was blasted. And like, you know, if you're one of those people that blasted me and you feel bad, then maybe, you know, there's an apology. Maybe if you still have questions, because I did talk to like certain people and I'm like, hey, you know, this didn't have anything to do with me. Like, sorry about the mob mentality. Sorry about the craziness and the papers and the this and the that. But, like, you know, I didn't know stuff. And they're like, okay, I get it. And, you know, there were a handful of people that I actually had those conversations with. Especially once I tried to get everything going again. Because that's what, you know, children wanted. Or a child wanted. And then it just didn't work. And I can at least say that I gave it my all and I tried. And then it was adults that messed it up. So, you know, I guess the big thing is, one, if you don't fit in a box, like you're neurospicy, you're a little different, quirky, whatever your thing is, or if you just have DSPD, like you're a completely normal, neurotypical person, and or just you consider yourself to be average, but like for some reason you're a night owl, and like that's where your peace is at the end of the night, and like you're doing laundry, like I roll my towels. I'm special. I like the aesthetics of it. I can also like fold them in. And my husband cat learned, and he still does them. Like he really tries in certain areas. He's a really good cat. But it's like if you don't fit into a specific box, don't beat yourself up about not fitting in that box, because there are standard boxes for standard people, and then there are like, pineapple shaped boxes for like special people, and then there are like circular little poppable things that you don't know how to wrap. Like I think about boxes and wrapping stuff because I like wrapping stuff. Or, maybe, most people are a cube and you're kind of a little bit of a rectangle. And, that doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It just means you're a little bit different. And so, like, as I sit here and I'm done with my laundry and I'm, like, putting some of the laundry in white trash bags because that means that it's either a donation or it's laundry. Because I have, like, systems. Don't be grumpy with yourself if you're a night owl and beat yourself up that you're not an early bird, because if husband cat is at peak performance first thing in the morning because he wakes up and he's just like raring to go and he has his coffee, oh look, we're at like 5%. So if he wakes up and he has his coffee and he's doing great, that's great for him. But like for me, I'm a night owl, which means that like when we had baby Hulk, I stayed up late for my night shift, and then he would be up first thing in the morning because we were at the point of having to watch baby Hulk 24/7 to make sure that he was okay, because he would stop breathing, he was having sleep apnea, all these different things. He had airway obstruction, all this stuff. So like sometimes it's good if a night owl and an early bird marry or are really good friends or partners, because that means they can cover more shifts, and that means that they both have time to be able to be a little independent. But that doesn't give other people the right to poke at the other one, because as the person that normally gets poked at for being a night owl, who actually does get up, at a reasonable hour within reason, it's a variation. None of the people are the same. We're all the same on the inside, so all that ism stuff, which is how I label like racism, sexism, being against different people of different sexualities. I know there's no ism in it, but I just group all the isms together. We're all the same on the inside. Like we all have the same makeup and everything, but we all function differently, and we all have different systems checks, and we have different variations of normal. And always remember that like nobody is normal. So coming from the double divorcee, it's clearly made so many bad life decisions, but actually has made a lot of good life decisions at the same time. Like, that's your random laundry conversation. Is like, if you're in a bad relationship, get out of it. If you're a good one, stick it out. If you're a night owl, don't feel bad about it. And if you're an early bird who can't stay up past 9, you do you. Like, we all beat ourselves up about all these things, and it's like, it's completely absurd, because if anybody didn't know me and husband cat and they saw us at like one of the church functions and they didn't know that I was a double divorcee, they would completely think that like our kittens are all our kittens, which is how we treat them, or both of our kittens are our kittens, and that like we're in our first real marriage, and like he's the only man that I've ever married twice. I mean, that's just what it is. So that's something for you guys to think about. I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye.